All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are building a powerful mental toolkit. We're talking about 10 frameworks, 10 mental models that are seriously going to change the way you think about, well, everything.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at a problem, just turning it over and over in your head, running in circles and getting absolutely nowhere. It is so frustrating.
But here's the thing. What if the answer isn't just more brain power, more effort? What if it's about using a completely different strategy? That's what this is all about, making that shift from just thinking harder to actually thinking smarter. And the key to making that shift is something called a mental model. So what is it? Think of it like a map for your brain. It's a framework that helps you see a problem clearly. Now, if you only have one map, you're going to get lost pretty fast. But if you have a whole atlas full of them, you can navigate just about anything. Okay, let's get into our first set of tools. These are your heavy-duty deconstruction tools, the ones you use to break down really complex problems into manageable pieces. First up is a big one, first principles thinking. Now, most people just try to improve on what already exists. But this model, this asks you to tear it all down to the absolute fundamental truths. A classic example is Elon Musk with rockets. He didn't just try to make existing rockets cheaper, he asked, what is a rocket literally made of? And rebuilt the idea from scratch. That's where real innovation comes from. And here is how you actually do it. It's basically a 3-step process. First, you have to identify all the assumptions you're making. Then comes the hard part. You break the problem down until you're left with only the things you know for sure are true. And finally, from that new, solid foundation, you build your solution back up. Our next tool for breaking things down is Occam's razor. You know, in a world that feels more and more complex, this little principle is your best friend. It just says that when you have a bunch of different explanations for something, the simplest one is usually the right one. So before you start a huge, complex analysis, just ask yourself, what's the most straightforward answer here? 9 times out of 10, that's where you should start. Okay, so we've got tools to take things apart. Now let's zoom out. This next batch of models is all about seeing the big picture and, more importantly, thinking ahead. This one is absolutely critical for any big decision you make in life. See, anybody can think about the immediate result of an action. That's first-order thinking. But the real game changers, they always ask, and then what? They're thinking about the ripple effects, the long-term consequences down the line. And you can really see it here. Your action causes an immediate result, right? But that's just the first domino to fall. That first consequence then triggers another one, and that one triggers another. For example, a city might ban plastic bags. The first-order consequence, people use reusable bags. Seems great. But a second-order consequence could be that the production of those reusable bags actually creates more pollution. Thinking this way helps you avoid unintended problems. All right, this next one, inversion, might feel a little backward at first, but it is such a powerful way to manage risk. Instead of asking, how do I achieve my goal, you flip the question on its head and ask, what would absolutely guarantee that I fail? Once you know what all the pitfalls are, you know exactly what you need to avoid. This is something we deal with every single day. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to every single other thing you could have done with that time or money. So the real cost of a decision isn't just what you spend. It's the value of the best opportunity you gave up. It's a huge deal for making smart choices. You know, the world is messy. It's rarely a simple yes or no. And that's where probabilistic thinking is your superpower. It's all about shifting your mindset from, will this happen, to what is the chance this will happen? It lets you think in shades of gray, to make calculated bets, and to move forward even when things aren't 100% certain. Okay, for our final section, we're going to turn the lens inward. These last few tools are all about understanding the most complicated machine of all, our own minds. You've almost definitely heard of this one, the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. But the real question is, are you using it? It's this wild idea that in almost any situation, about 80% of your results will come from just 20% of your efforts. This forces you to get ruthless about figuring out what that vital 20% is and focusing all your energy right there. I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that. That tiny little sliver of your actions is driving that massive chunk of your results. Your job, whether it's at work or in your personal life, is to find that powerful 20% and just pour your resources into it. Oh, this one is sneaky. Confirmation bias is our brain's natural tendency to look for evidence that proves we're right, while conveniently ignoring anything that suggests we might be wrong. It's a glitch in our thinking, and it's exactly why a tool like First Principles is so important. It forces you to challenge the very beliefs your confirmation bias is trying so hard to protect. This is a really profound idea. It means that every mental model, every belief, every idea you have about the world, it's just a map. It's a simplified representation of reality, but it's not reality itself. It's such a good reminder to stay humble, to question our assumptions, and to remember that our map might just be outdated or flat out wrong. Have you ever been studying for hours and you just hit a wall, where you feel like you're putting in more and more time, but learning less and less? That is the law of diminishing returns in action. It's a super important tool for knowing when to stop, take a break, or change your strategy completely. Because sometimes more is not better. And there you have it, 10 incredibly powerful frameworks that you can add to your mental toolkit, ready to go. So let's recap what's in your new toolkit. You have tools to deconstruct problems, like First Principles and Occam's razor. You have tools for strategic vision, like second-order thinking and inversion. You've got tools to make smarter choices with opportunity cost and probabilistic thinking. And finally, you have tools for self-awareness, understanding the 80-20 rule, your biases, and your limits. This is a serious arsenal for better thinking. But look, the goal isn't just to know what these models are. It's to actually use them, to pull them out when you're facing a challenge. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you have these new maps, what new territory are you going to go out and explore?